Om. 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 Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Be happy. Spread happiness wherever you go. Really speaking, this is what we are, and this is all that we have to do. Having explained the freedom that an enlightened person enjoys, the bliss that he or she lives in, whatever may be the external conditions or roles a person might be playing in this world, such a person indeed lives reveling in happiness, reveling in bliss. So far, those of you who have been continuously listening to Bhaja Govindam, Bhagwan Shankaracharya has pointed out what is the disease, the cause of our dis-ease. Also pointed out to us what is to be achieved, or what cause has to be removed to eliminate this disease. How or where in Satsang it is available. What we must be careful and what examinations we must take regularly of ourselves to see that there is no disease brewing within us. All this Bhagwan Shankaracharya has explained, and also how to reach by freeing ourselves from desire and coming to know our infinite nature, reach the state of enlightenment, the state of moksha or freedom. Having explained that, do we do by which we can live in happiness, live moment to moment in peace and harmony. These verses now, one by one, besides glorifying that state of liberation or the enlightened person, in between keeps on pointing out what are the practices that we should follow by which we can free ourselves here and now in this life itself. Why this life? Soon, if not soon, now, we should free ourselves. That is the urgency of Moha Mudgara or Bhaja Govindam by Sri Adi Sankaracharya. Now, in this verse, which is the 20th verse, for those of you who have a book and have been following, Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakridapiyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yame Nana Charcha. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte, Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukrin Karane. Bhagavad Gita, Kinchida Adhita. Kinchita Adhita. So Bhagavad Gita, of all the scriptures that even Adi Sankaracharya himself has commented, he mentions particularly for everyone a proper study. Adhita. Bring thee to study the Bhagavad Gita. Ganga Jala Lava Kanika Pita. After hearing such an intellectual practice, suddenly it is said, one who takes even a sip of the pure waters or the sacred waters of the river Ganga, suddenly, for some people, their eyes will start rolling. That Shankaracharya, the great, mighty intellect who debated and had discussions of such high philosophical level, says that one who sips a wee bit of Ganga Jal, Sakridapi yena murari samarcha, for at least once had a dialogue or surrendered or worshipped Murari, kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. For such a person, there is no dialogue with death. There is no dialogue with the Lord of death. It's very important to understand that most of our insecurities, also our fears and anxieties, our desires and greed, our hoarding, all these are due to our finding ourselves to be mortal. And the insecurity that rises from that, death for the body is certain. As once Gurudev said, in the physical plane, death is just a transfer order. It is just moving from one residence to another residence, one office to another office, to fulfill whatever remaining desires that you have or the shopping list that you carry from life to life. Yet, when we pass from one body to another body, what we have gathered over a period of time which goes with us is the result of our good or bad actions that give us different bodies or different worlds of experience. And therefore, there is a dialogue with death, very different from the dialogue that Nachiketa has with the Guru death. That teaches us to inquire. That teaches us that how many actions of ours are only temporary, giving us temporary results. All our pleasures are temporary. Everything is changing. Uncertainty is the certain law of nature. And how do we prepare ourselves for that which is certain, and yet we do not know when, where, how, which is uncertain to us? And there, just as Arjuna, when facing the most challenging situation in his life, that battlefield in front of him, where he had not only to confront this time the brave warrior who has fought many battles, had to confront death himself right in front of him, because inevitably either he or not only many but also his dear and near ones had to die. And at such moments, rather than despairing, which he did at first, escape from, confronted by that thought of death, that brave warrior collapsed in the middle of the battlefield. Not that he did not have some information and knowledge from the past. In a cultural society that he lived in a cultural kingdom that he was born into, great rishis, munis, even in house, there were great people like Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, men and women of knowledge who visited. So it's not that he did not have knowledge like most have, but to apply that knowledge to yourself, to inquire. Adhita does not mean just pathita, just reading or chanting. They are also a means to make a deeper study of what is the true import of the words of the greatest of all masters, the Lord Himself, given out of compassion and love, a song from the heart to touch the heart of the devotee and wake him up from the slumber, the depression, the dejection, the hopelessness that people fall into. And that knowledge of the Upanishads, to bring it in such a relevant moment, in a relevant style that is relevant for everyone as they face the battles of their life, so beautifully brought out by Sri Krishna and narrated by Sri Vedvyasa as a gem, as a crest jewel in the midst of the mighty epic, the Mahabharata. And therefore, Bhagwan Shankaracharya points out, Bhagavad Gita kinchita dita. Even a little bit, even just one statement from the Gita, even really speaking, half a statement, but thoroughly study so that we can study ourselves. Such a study of this knowledge, which reveals to us our immortal nature, the means by which we can free our mind from our vasanas, our likes and dislikes, our prejudices, our desires, and with our equipment, is called as Buddhi Yoga. Bhagavad Gita not only gives us the highest knowledge, Brahma Vidya, but it is also a Yoga Shastra. It gives us the means to integrate our mind and intellect, which are divorced from each other because of our ego, egocentric selfish desires, as well as all the agitations that disturb our mind and cover our discriminative intellect and even veil the knowledge we have when we require it in our life. In fact, challenging situations are times that make us reflect Not everybody does it. Most people drown in sorrow. There are few like Arjuna who sipped that flow of knowledge which is called as Ganga. There is one Ganga that flows from the Himalayas to the ocean that has protected the whole of North India from being a desert. Besides being such a mighty river because of whom this land has been nurtured, that Ganga, with her beauty, with her love, has nourished not only physically this country, but also at the same time is that Ganga on whose banks many cultures, many great saints, sages, philosophers have lived, and therefore Ganga represents to our saints and sages the very flow of this cultural knowledge, the flow of this supreme knowledge. Ganga is Brahman in liquid form. Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa also would say that just as when the icebergs melt, in the same way, when the heart of the Supreme melts, it flows to us in the form of this flow of supreme knowledge of the great and the supreme. Goswami Tulsidas ji says, Ram Bhagati Jahan Sur Saridara, that the flow of devotion is Ganga. Thus, our saints and sages have seen the Ganga to be the very flow of this knowledge of the Supreme, the very flow of devotion, for she invokes in the hearts of people like a mother love. Ganga does not mean only some water, even though for centuries people still remain in awe and wonder that when even the purified bottled waters have an expiry date, the waters of the Ganga, these days I would say taken from the source, does not ever stink. It remains pure. That is the magic of the Ganga, but what the Ganga has inspired, and that is the Ganga that Pujya Gurudev brought and is even now bringing it to our doorstep. And or what even doorstep today, to your living room, today to your office room, to your bedroom, so that if one can even sip a wee bit of this Ganga, just a wee bit of this knowledge. Sakridapiyena murari samarcha. Even for a minute, if you had a dialogue, a worship, a surrender, and all dialogue with Murari. Murari, according to stories in our Puranas, when the 16,000 beautiful princesses, women who were captured by Narakasur, lust, greed, possession, selfishness creates a hell for oneself and for others. And when they pleaded to Krishna that please come and save us, Krishna came there. And first he had to encounter, before even Narakasur, Murasur, the 5-headed demon. The 5 heads or the 10 heads of Ravan represents our sense organs. And that mind or ego, extroverted, living a life of mere pleasure and sensuality. That mighty ego, creating hell or preserving the hell or keeping us in hell. That demon, that Murari, the one who is the enemy of it, the one who destroys this 5-headed ego or 10-headed ego, is Krishna, is Rama. And therefore, Krishna is called as Murari. But the supreme truth, reality, in the divine realization of it, this limited, finite ego comes to an end. And therefore, he is called as Murari. And as the Lord of the universe, to protect us, when we have surrendered to the Lord, like Arjuna did, it is he who removes or destroys this ego in us. Who is the cause of finitude? Who is the cause of birth and death? Who takes up different forms and goes to different worlds? Therefore, this verse points out, Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita. One who even has studied, not just read, not just taken information, but studied it and made it into self-study. One who has had a sip of this knowledge and purified himself. This great cultural knowledge for which great rishis like Bhagirath, that knowledge which was beyond the intellect as Akash Ganga, did years and years of austerity. And even that, what you call mind-blowing knowledge, could not be directly grasped by the rishi. Only a pure mind like Shiva, a devotee like Shiva, could grasp the onslaught of that thrust of knowledge that I am infinite. He too, having kept that Ganga in his matted locks for years, meditated and assimilated it. Not that he didn't have the knowledge, but to imbibe it completely in himself. And then, as the Guru gives out a little of that Ganga, so that in her gush, villages do not get destroyed. That is the beauty of our Puranic literature, which brings to us this Ganga from the highly pure intellects, these, to the very children of this divine Sanatan Dharma. Call it religion, call it culture. It brings to us one who has even tasted a wee bit of this Ganga. And in that, developing devotion and surrendering to the Lord of devotion. Shri Krishna, Sharanam Mama. For such a person, that person does not have to bargain for his papa and punyas, for his sins or his merits, does not have to have any discussion or even has to meet death. For that person discovers his or her immortality in this life itself. In Kathopanishad, that some of you must be hearing later on, there it is said, Mrityu Yasya Upasechanam. For such a person, death is just a pickle as Gurudev would laugh and say, that just gives such a realized master a tickle. Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. There is no more dialogue with death. But someone might say, even to understand a little bit of Bhagavad Gita is so difficult for me. Upanishads out of question. Even Bhaja Govindam, which the great Shankara, in these little spurts of knowledge, spreading this Ganga so sweetly, so gently, even then, some people will find no time. But when time comes, when difficult time comes, then at that moment, when the mind is utterly disturbed, completely shattered, where will be the study of the Bhagavad Gita? Therefore, outthink uncertainty. Be prepared. And that is what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. You never know when, where, to whom any situation will hit. In fact, Mother Nature, life itself, is very, very loving. It warns you before. It is like an acupressurist. Whenever you feel pain in the extremities of your body, when you press it, it is only indicative of something more serious inside. And releasing that pain from there, it might be at that moment when a doctor or a therapist is pressing those painful nerves, we might feel a shocking scream sometimes within us. But it is only to cure us. And one who takes the remedy, one who takes the treatment, like the treatment Arjuna got from none other than Murari, Shri Krishna himself, such a person does not have to fear or face any calamity. Such a person goes through the storms of life, coming out braver, more courageous, confident, wiser to perform in the world as a storm. Such storm to perform is the theme of the Bhagavad Gita. It teaches us to outthink uncertainty. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. But if somebody finds even this difficult, the flow of Mother Ganga from the great Shankara comes to us in such a gentle form that anyone in the world can do this. And that will be the theme that we shall discuss tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhaved, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.